Hello, my name is Paula Winke. I'm an associate professor at Michigan State University in East Lansing, Michigan, and I'm talking about supporting teachers' efforts in implementing technology-mediated tasks. So what I'm going to talk about today are teachers' constraints that impede the implementation of technology-mediated tasks, in particular one teacher's plight, and how she had no time to develop tasks, perhaps a lack of technology know-how, and what she and I saw as lasting damage in her class from Focus on Forms textbooks. And I'm going to talk about addressing these challenges and finding the opportunities that are in them and what we can do and are doing as language teaching professionals. We can train teachers of basic and lower level language skills classes how to create tasks and technology-mediated tasks, because tasks beget tasks. And as researchers, we can make popular syllabus restructuring efforts on U.S. campuses in terms of turning lower-level courses into hybrid courses or blended learning courses. And we can, when we are doing that, insert a hard earmark of tasks into the redesign plan. Sorry about that. So we love tasks because they work. When students are engaged in doing an activity that's meaning-focused, they might incidentally pick up forms, grammar and vocabulary, or we might explicitly teach grammar in forms, grammar and vocabulary forms that they need for the task. But it makes learning real and authentic. Teachers have constraints in implementing tasks, and at Michigan State University, a teacher of fourth-year Chinese wanted to add technology-mediating tasks to her curriculum for 3 reasons. Michigan has a new law that any person who wants to be certified to teach a foreign language in the K-12 schools must pass the ACTFL OPI at advanced low for most languages and intermediate high for some. And education students in her class were failing this test in droves. So the teacher wanted more oral tasks in the classroom to help students work on their oral proficiency, and she wanted to use technology to collect speech samples during task work so she could better give feedback. And she wanted to bring in more authentic materials for task work to round out the students' cultural knowledge and ability to talk about real-world topics, something that students are required to do in the ACTFL OPI role-play scenarios. So we followed the Jane Willis's task plan from 1996, which includes a pre-task, task, and language focus cycles to any task that's designed. So in particular, the teacher wanted to review and conduct practice activities post-task when and where necessary to build student confidence. So the sketch of the specific task structure for this Chinese class was to follow the pre-task activity, to have explicit instruction of key phrases of vocabulary, authentic video on the topic, and a discussion concerning the key points in the video. In class, role plays with groups of 3 and with follow-up class discussions. And thus, post-task formative assessment and post-task debriefing, which the teacher focused on as the technology implementation beyond the PowerPoints and the videos that were brought into the class, and at times captioned videos. But the post-task formative assessment was a video-based online discourse completion task, which involved the self-assessment of oral proficiency after the discourse completion task. So oral tasks were stored in an online portfolio system at MSU for each student. The teacher and the TAs listened to the DCTs and rated them on the same oral assessment rubric and discussed the responses and self-assessment outcomes with students in the class. So how many tasks? We decided to add in 3 for this first semester. There's cyclical repetitive instruction and utilize the same technology so students could become familiar with the task frame, which would help the logistics of the task. And we provided a needs analysis at the beginning of the semester to investigate what the task topic should be. So the survey, which we gave out at the beginning of the semester, was in Chinese and English, and it asked what they wanted to do. They wanted to travel to China, especially Wolong. Many of the students had just spent a summer or the summer previous in a abroad program in China, but they got the taste for travel there and wanted to do more. They want to better communicate with Chinese students on campus, and they want to get to know the Chinese community in the greater Lansing area. So we had these 3 formative technology-mediated tasks based on the students' needs. Topic 1 was about the panda bears of Wolong and how some of those pandas come to the U.S. to spend up to 10 years in U.S. zoos on loan. Topic 2 was on the culture shock that Chinese students experienced when they arrive at Michigan State University here in East Lansing. And topic 3 is why Chinese parents send their kids to Saturday Chinese school and what the kids themselves say about the classes. So one of our first constraints that we met head on, everything was going smooth here, but now the question was where to fit the tasks in. This was a very rich and robust syllabus with an integrated skills focus, and they had a lot of other work to do. They had required tasks and audio materials, things that were pretty much not task-based. If you've seen the new Practical Chinese Reader and the CDs of that, this is where we realized that tasks are really needed to supplement the current curriculum that involved the use of the Chinese reader. But there were also supplemental materials for readings that the teacher did in the class. So the real constraint was to fit these, where to fit these in. And I think that this is just a general constraint for all teachers. They often are tasked with fitting tasks in. So tasks are still used as add-ons to the already existing syllabus. And this mirrors what happened in early computer-assisted language learning. Technology was viewed as an add-on, something you did once or twice a semester in the language lab. In the last decade or more, CAL has become what Hubbard and Levy call normalized. This is a phrase that's used often in the CAL field. It's become cyclical and extended to regular classroom activities. Tasks need to go through that process and do that too. Tasks have not yet become normalized. They are still seen as something to fit into the curriculum ad hoc. So this is a constraint. Constraints 2 and 3 are more straightforward. The teacher has little time and not a lot of information about technology and how to implement technology-mediated tasks in the classroom. So the solution to the constraints in this case were pretty straightforward. I was willing as a researcher to help with task creation, and 2 volunteer students from China in MSU's Masters of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages program wanted more experience in task design, so the 3 of us came in and were willing to help. So we created these 3 different tasks based on students' needs. You remember Panda Bears, Culture Shock, and Saturday Chinese School. And each one started with a PowerPoint that the MA TESOL students and I designed with key phrases and vocabulary and background information on an authentic video that was the second part of a video that was taken from the web, from the internet, or made for the web by us, captioned when the teacher thought they should be. Each of these 3 tasks had a role play to mimic the role plays that they would possibly have at the end of the year with their actual OPI. And technology delivered questions on this topic, asking students' opinions, which we recorded orally via conversations, an online rich internet application, which is video-based. It's an extended discourse completion tool offered here at MSU free through CLEAR. And students were allowed to record multiple times and submit what they liked best, and students later listened to and self-evaluated their speech. And the teacher and the MA TESOL students from China listened and gave feedback. Okay. So this is a little screenshot of what the video from the Panda Bear looked like. These screen captures were part of the PowerPoint that was shown ahead of time before watching and listening to the video. And key terms and phrases then were highlighted and went through in the PowerPoint. So this is a screenshot of what the actual video from the Culture Shock task was like. So in this one you see that the student, the MA TESOL student, is interviewing other Chinese students here on campus and asking them what was difficult when you first arrived in East Lansing, and the students are describing that. Now, while they were listening, they would listen to the video, be it what it was, in regard to those 3 tasks, multiple times. And we also had, while listening, focus on form activities. So during the panda bear listening activity, they would listen at least one of the times to the news clip about panda bears and listen for the key words and write the key words in as best they could. So with the role play, the central part of the task, the students would get ID cards and task directions. For the Chinese language school one, students were given different roles, like you're a Chinese student, you're a Chinese parent, or you're a teacher at the Lansing Chinese school, and a situation. The student wants to stop coming to class on Saturdays, and they would act that out using their own language. They would have to, the task was to find a resolution and then share it with the class. So after they did that, students would turn to their computers to participate in a discourse completion task that we designed using CLEAR's free online RIA conversations. So students could listen to a series of 4 different questions that the MA TESOL student would ask in Chinese about the video and the role play that they had had. Students were able to practice and listen to themselves, and then they were able to record their responses and submit the ones that they wanted to submit for evaluation. So one of the constraints that also came about through this project was that we have a constraint of authentic materials. The authentic news clip from China Central Television proved to be too hard for the students. They just couldn't complete the first task we made because the students never made it through the video. They thought it would take 20 to 30 minutes in class, but it took much longer than that, and the teacher just abandoned that task in particular because there was a problem of parsing. The speech stream in the video, the authentic video from Chinese television, appeared to the students too fast. And we think this is because they had a lack of previous exposure to authentic video. We captioned it to aid processing, but the students could not process that either because the words went by too fast or the text was too difficult. And I've heard this before. It's a common theme throughout some of the past research I've done with some colleagues here at Michigan State as well, in looking at how students of different languages use captions. We find Chinese language learners and Arabic language learners, when shown caption videos in their classes, in their second-year classes, they tend to not read the captions, and part of the reasoning for that appeared to be that they had not seen caption videos in that foreign language before, while in Spanish it was not a problem. They were used to seeing captioned video. So some of this is just lack of previous exposure. We also have asked students at Michigan State University what type of computer assisted language learning and online language learning tools they're used to using. And we found that students of LICTLs, of less commonly taught languages, self-report that they are less prepared for blended or hybrid learning environments because they also just don't have experience in using computerized programs and tools for online learning, online foreign language learning. So again, this is a huge constraint that if authentic materials are not used from the beginning, by the time they get up to the 4th year, they're still not ready to use them. The process seems to be needed to be started earlier than it is. So a review of these spiraling constraints. Tasks are just to be fit into the already existing syllabus. They're not normalized yet. Teachers have little time to develop tasks, and teachers often lack technology acumen, which would help them design efficient and effective tasks with authentic materials that would fit into the time they have for tasks in their already packed syllabi. And LICTL students are often unable to process authentic video and other types of computer-mediated tools and typing and things like that due to a lack of exposure. So creating a demand for non-scripted custom-made video, but see 2 and 3. So if we need to custom make the videos for these classes, the 2 other constraints of no time and lack of technology acumen become even bigger problems. So it is a spiral and a bit of a circle as well. So I think a contributor to the constraints in this case, in this one teacher's case in particular, is what I would call the task-based language teaching kryptonite. The focus on forms textbooks that leave little room for the imagination and which rarely employ authentic materials. So when used in lower level classes, these focus on forms textbooks in particular. Students are not exposed to authentic video or content that could aid or be the building blocks of some types of computer-mediated tasks, especially integrated skills tasks. So, I wanted to get to the next part of the talk, which is addressing the challenges and finding the opportunities, what we can do and are doing to alleviate some of these constraints that I talked about. So we can train future teachers. And Michigan State University is doing this for the Center for Language Teaching Advancement. It is offering courses and workshops for current teachers and also for K through 12 teachers in improving the instructional environment for all languages. Part of this is lending support for hybrid or blended language learning. And it's at Michigan State University, CELTA, along with CLEAR, the Center for Language Education and Research, hosts summer workshops for teachers, high school and university level, that focus on task theory, computer skills, computer-mediated task creation. And CELTA has hired individuals whose jobs it is to help teachers with online materials design. They will hybridize lower-level language classes, and these individuals will also create tasks for the courses. In essence, then, they can hard earmark the creation or implementation of tasks at the lower levels of instruction. So I really see that this is task-based language teaching researchers and pedagogues an opportunity. This is our opportunity to normalize tasks into the curriculum and pave the way for tasks at the upper levels of instructions. There might not be a lot of funding to create tasks, but there's a lot of funding to hybridize or make blended learning environments for lower level classes. And that's where we can step in and make sure that those online components of classes are task-based with good tasks. So what teachers need in general is they need knowledge, yes, they need task theory and skills in using technology and materials design, but if they don't have that, they can get help in terms of support. More time to design and evaluate tasks and tech help and task design help from people external to their classroom. And the conditions that will help that are educational policies that promote tasks at colleges, universities, and K through 12s, freedom to depart from accuracy-based assessments, and task-based textbooks, or at least communicative textbooks that employ authentic materials. Those conditions would help support teachers as well. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed my talk. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at winke@msu.edu. Bye-bye.